Hey folks, how's it going? Today we're going to check out a car and I'll show you everything to do, you know, as far as when you're going to buy a car, what to look for, what you should do, you know, things to be suspicious of or what have you. So let's get right to it and let's check this out. This little car here is my wife's car. But we're going to use this as an example. I bought it a few years back. I got it for $900. Got a good deal on it. Fuel pump was gone. I put the fuel pump in the driveway of where I bought it. It was actually a super easy task. It was under the seat, you know, lift the back seat. Anyways, when you're buying a car, first thing you're going to do is check the coolant. You see this white stuff here. What's going on? Obviously, they had a leak of some sort, and they tried to stop it with stop leak. Well, that was me. My water pump had went 3 hours away from home, and it's a pretty big job to do on the side of the road. It's an internal water pump, so I'd use some stop leak. But if you see that on a car you're going to buy, that's a good inclination that maybe they're trying to seal something up. So if you see that or any coppery looking stuff around the coolant, anything like that, be suspicious. Obviously, you're checking for a head gasket leak, though, when you're pulling the coolant cover off, so you're going to look for oil in there. Same as with your oil. You're going to check the oil and see if it looks milky or anything like that. You want to see it clear. At least you want to be able to read it. If it's milky, there's a head gasket issue. Coolant is going in the oil. There's a few other things you want to check. Maybe your transmission fluid. This car doesn't have a transmission dipstick, but if it did, it would be right down in that hole there somewhere. It'd be a red dipstick, mostly there on a front-wheel drive car. You'll pull it out, check it. It should be pink. It should be clear. You should be able to read it on the dipstick. You want to do all of this checking fluids before you even start the car. You know, that's one thing you want to do. That checking fluids will tell a lot when you're buying a car. You know, so maybe your power steering fluid, you could check that as well. Have a look, see if it's black or semi-clear at least. Maybe your brake fluid, all those fluids. You should check those before you even start the car. Next thing you probably should do is, take the car, if you're serious about buying the car, take the car to somebody with a sophisticated scanner. It can tell you so much. Look at all this stuff. There's so many things that you can see with a sophisticated scanner. Whether, a power window has quit, or whether a power mirror isn't working, or your satellite radio is having troubles. Any of that stuff, power seat. Any of those things, it will show you. And, if you can find somebody with, that's fairly cheap, get your car scanned. That's, a good idea. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. It'll also show you, if you went to buy the car and somebody was, erased the codes before you got there. It'll show you those things because they're permanent codes. And the only way they can be erased is somebody with a sophisticated scanner will do that. So yeah, it's a real good idea to do that. Next thing, you should look at your tires. Make sure they're not worn on the inside, outside, any of that stuff. If they are, it's a good inclination that, the car is probably either out of line, you have a ball joint gone, you have a tie rod end gone, something's gone, and it's going to be a costly fix. So make sure you look at the two tires and look at the rears as well, because somebody might have rotated them. Took the fronts that we're wearing off the front and put them on the back, and then put the good ones back on the front. So check all the tires, make sure they're all wearing good, all that stuff. That's a real good thing to do when you're checking out a car. As well as safety. Safety is a big thing. You don't want a loose front end on a car, and that's a good sign that you have a loose front end. Next thing, check underneath. Have a look for leaks. Make sure the car is dry. And when I say leaks, you know, if a lot of times people change oil, they'll get a little drip here and there. But the difference between a leak and the oil dripping from an oil change, you'll see dirt gathered up on the oil. If it's just from an oil change, it'll be a lot of sludge kind of deal in one little area where the oil has been coming off, when you drain it or whatever, and somebody didn't wipe it off. But check for leaks. That's a good thing to do. You always want to check for leaks, all that stuff. Take the car for a drive. Make sure the transmission is shifting good. The RPM falls from when it hits whatever it may be, 3 grand, and then it shifts. It doesn't go up. It just goes right from 3 grand straight back down to whatever it may be, 2 grand or whatever. But check for leaks. Make sure the car is dry. That'll cost you a lot of money in the long run if you got to start replacing gaskets and this and that and seals and what have you. Next thing, start the car up. Look for smoke. Smoke and steam are 2 different things. The smoke you will actually smell. It'll smell like burning oil. You don't want the car burning oil. Next thing you want to check. Bounce the car up and down. Just like this. Give it a good bounce and then stop and then let it go. And the car should stop. It should not bounce any more than once. If it does, it means your struts are gone. That's going to be a costly replace and, up to $500, maybe $1,000. Who knows? Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Keep your hands dirty and have a great day.